For the first time since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a North Korean M1978 Koksan self-propelled artillery system has been destroyed in combat, reported the Operational Tactical Group of Troops, Khortytsa. According to the statement, the weapon was targeted in the Luhansk region by the 412th Separate Unmanned Systems Regiment, Nemesis. The 170mm Koksan, first observed in Russian service back in October 2024, has a firing range of up to 43 kilometers with high explosive shells, reaching up to 60 kilometers with rocket-assisted projectiles. It has a firing rate of 2 rounds every 5 minutes and is operated by an 8-man crew, including a driver, commander, gunner, and 5 loaders who carry the ammunition. The Ukrainian Air Force successfully targeted the positions of the Russian 2nd Motorized Rifle Battalion of the 64th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade in the Zaporizhzhia region. The operation was confirmed by the General Staff of the Armed Forces. On February 17th, a precision strike destroyed the Russian personnel deployment site, fortifications, as well as a drone launch platform in the village of Chmatska. The launch site had been actively used by Russian forces to conduct combat operations against Ukrainian defenders. In Kherson, rescuers recovered the body of a man under the rubble of an apartment building which was destroyed in a Russian airstrike. On February 19th, Moscow troops launched an attack on the city with 3 guided aerial bombs. One of them struck a 10-story residential building in the city's center, injuring at least 6 people, children among them. According to the head of the regional military administration, rescuers pulled 13-year-old twins from the rubble. Both suffered blast injuries and acute stress reactions and are now in the hospital under medical supervision.
I took the children to my apartment and then an ambulance took them away. The girl was in the room and the boy went to the bathroom. That saved them. Their mother was behind the wall sleeping.
According to the State Emergency Service, people might still be trapped under the debris. However, rescue operations are being complicated by repeated Russian shelling. A massive fire broke out at the Lebedev Institute of Computing Technology in Moscow, a key facility within Russia's defense sector. Local media, as well as Russian Telegram channels, reported that the blaze had spread across 1,500 square meters, prompting concerns over a possible explosion. Additionally, the roof and walls of the building have collapsed. The Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations did not directly name the facility, stating only that they were extinguishing a major fire in an administrative building on Varshavskaya Highway. A Ka-32 helicopter was deployed, and the fire was assigned an increased difficulty level. Amid the latest statements from Trump, who referred to the Ukrainian president as a dictator and questioned his democratic legitimacy, European leaders came out in support of Zelenskyy. In particular, the Czech president, Petr Pavel, posted on X that calling the president of such a country a dictator requires an incredible level of cynicism. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz condemned Trump's statement as wrong and dangerous, stressing that Ukraine's decision to postpone elections amid war is in line with its constitution and electoral laws. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen endorsed Zelenskyy's leadership, highlighting his resilience as Ukraine continues to battle Russian aggression, fighting every day for European and, consequently, US peace.
Finland supports Ukraine in every possible way. Finland supports the Ukrainian constitution and the democratically elected president, Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
It was Russia that started the war. President Zelenskyy is democratically elected. I think no one wants elections more than Ukraine, because elections would mean that there is peace in Ukraine and that they themselves can rule over their country again.
In his evening address, President Zelenskyy thanked everyone for their support, underlining that unity is the best safeguard for the future.
I count on Ukrainian unity, on our Ukrainian courage, on our relations with partners, on our European unity, and on America's pragmatism. America, which needs success as much as we all do. Success unites. Our unity is the best safeguard for our future. A future, not with Putin, but with peace. And it's a choice for everyone in the world, including the strongest, to stand with Putin or with peace. It is worth choosing peace.
Lithuania stands firmly by Ukraine and has delivered a new batch of military aid, including trucks, thermal imaging sites, and more assistance for the armed forces, reported the Lithuanian Ministry of Defense on Wednesday. According to the ministry's website, the 80 million euros military package directly addresses Ukraine's most urgent defense needs and was agreed at the Ramstein format meeting last week. Lithuania's military assistance is estimated to reach 1 billion euros this year alone, added the statement. President Trump pledged to revive negotiations on a high-stakes natural resources deal with Ukraine. Talking to journalists aboard Air Force One, he warned that failures to reach an agreement could lead to consequences for Ukraine.
Yeah, I think I'm going to resurrect it. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to resurrect it, or things are not going to make him too happy. And look, it's time for elections.
Trump also claimed that his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, was treated rudely in Ukraine, alleging Zelenskyy was unavailable for a meeting because he was asleep. Bessent visited Kyiv on February 12th, where he did in fact meet with Zelenskyy. Following their talks, the Ukrainian president announced that the U.S. had presented Kyiv with a draft partnership agreement outlining investments in Ukraine's mineral resources in exchange for further assistance. The United Nations does not consider Ukrainian President Zelenskyy to be an illegitimate head of state. This was stated by the spokesperson for UN Secretary General Stefan Dujarric during a briefing on February 19th following remarks made by US President Trump.
President Zelenskyy sits in office after duly held elections.
The European Union also responded to Trump's statement about Zelenskyy. The European Commission Deputy Chief Spokesperson Stefan de Keersmaker stressed that the Ukrainian president was legitimately elected in free, fair, and democratic elections.
Ukraine is a democracy. Putin's Russia is not.
European Council President Daniel Kosoy, along with the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, will visit Kyiv on the third anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion. On his X page, Kosoy stated that he and von der Leyen have decided to be in Ukraine on February 24th to reaffirm their support to the heroic Ukrainian people and to the democratically elected President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Earlier today, the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez also announced that he will be in Kyiv next Monday to reaffirm Spain's support for Ukrainian democracy and the Ukrainian president. The U.S. is opposing the use of the term Russian aggression in a G7 statement on the third anniversary of Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This action threatens to disrupt the traditional demonstration of unity. This was reported by the Financial Times with reference to 5 Western officials. The sources also said that the Ukrainian president's participation in the G7 virtual summit has not yet been agreed. The disagreement follows President Trump's comments blaming Ukraine for the war, calling Zelenskyy a dictator without elections, and suggesting Russia should rejoin the G7. However, one of the Financial Times sources noted that they are still hoping to reach an agreement.